Here we go, people. Today is 2-4 notes. Day 2, graphing linear equations. All about graphing today. We've got two versions of our line equation here in boxes. We've got the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. That is great for when you have the slope and the y-intercept. We also have standard form, ax plus by equals c. That is easiest to graph using the x and y intercept. We also have a third form, point slope, that we used yesterday. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. We don't use that version so much when we graph. That's sort of an intermediate version that then we clean up either into slope-intercept form or standard form. Don't forget slope is our change in y over our change in x. That is, subtract the y's, divide by subtract the x's. You can also think of it as rise over run. So let's do an example. We're going to graph the line y equals negative 2x plus 1. This is in slope-intercept form. That allows us to easily peel off the slope, easily peel off the y-intercept. So remember, the slope is the coefficient on the x. So our slope here is negative 2. The y-intercept comes from the constant, the plus 1. The y-intercept, remember, is 0, comma, some number. The b value, in this case, which is 1. Yeah, ding, ding, ding. Super picky. Super picky. You need to write it as an ordered pair. All right, so let's graph this line. How are we going to do this? First thing we're going to do is we're going to graph the y-intercept at 0, comma 1. Then we're going to use our slope is negative 2. You can think of that as a negative 2 over 1. You can think of this as the rise over the run. So from this y-intercept point, I'm going to rise negative 2. That means I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2. And then I'm going to run a positive 1, so that is 1 to the right. I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, right, 1. Or I could think of this as 2 over negative 1 if I want. And I, from the y-intercept, could rise 2, 1, 2, and go to the left a negative 1. Then what are we going to do? We're going to connect those points and make a nice line. Arrows on the end, please, to signify that that line goes forever in both directions, kind of like your lines in geometry. Let's look at number 2. Graph the line y equals 3x minus 5. This again is in slope-intercept form. So I can peel off the slope. My slope is 3. I can think of that as 3 over 1. My y-intercept comes from the b value, the constant. So that is the point 0, comma, negative 5. First thing we'll do is we'll graph the 0, negative 5. And then we're going to use our slope to find our next point. Think of slope as rise over run. So from my y-intercept, I'm going to rise 3, go up 3, and run 1 in the positive direction, so to the right. So I'm going to count up 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. Let's do again, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. Connect those dots. Ooh, that one wasn't so great. Put some arrows on the end. There's my line. Okay. On the first one, notice my slope was negative. And as I look at this graph, reading it from left to right, my line is going down. The second one, my slope was positive. As I'm reading that graph from left to right, just like you read a book, my line is increasing. It's going up towards the positive. So negative slopes versus positive slopes. So when you have your slope in your mind, kind of think, ooh, is this going to go up or is this going to go down? All right, next one. This one's different. This one is written in standard form or something close to it. So the way we're going to approach something written in standard form is we're going to graph the x and the y intercepts. So if I want to graph the x-intercept, remember my y value is equal to 0. So I'll have 2x plus 3 times 0 equals 6. That gives me 2x equals 6. So x equals 3. So my x-intercept then is 3, 0. Plot it. Then what? Then I'm going to find my y-intercept. Well, what do I know about every y-intercept? I know x is equal to 0. So we'll have 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 6. 3y equals 6. So y equals 2. So that is the ordered pair 0, 2. I'll graph that one. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to connect the dots. And there's my line. Now when I look at this line and read the graph from left to right, my line is decreasing. Since it is decreasing, that's going to tell me that my slope is negative. Okay, that tells me that my slope will be negative. Oh, that arrow was terrible. All right, so now what? So to find my slope, I'm going to do rise over run. So I'm going to pick a point. I'll start here at this one. I'm going to rise. How far do I rise to get to the next point? I'm going from blue to orange. So let's see, I rise 1, 2. And I run 1, 2, 3, but to the left, so that makes it a negative. So my slope then is negative. Whoa, what just happened? My slope is negative 2/3. Remember, we always write negatives in the numerator. That doesn't mean necessarily that that's the way it has to be, but that's the easiest way. I could have also started at the orange and gone to the blue. If I had started at the orange and gone to the blue, I would have gone down to 1, 2 for a negative 2. Over, I would have gone 1, 2, 3 to the right for a positive 3. Same thing. So it doesn't matter which point you start at, which one you end at, you'll get the same result. Let's try number 4. Number 4 kind of looks like standard form, but it's not perfect standard form because I could take a 2 out of everything. We don't have to do that, but just know that it's not entirely perfectly standard form because we could take a 2 out. And also there's a negative out front. So in order to be perfect standard form, we can't have that negative there. Let's find the x-intercept. So we know y equals 0. So we'll have negative 4x plus 6 times 0 equals 12. Negative 4x equals 12. So x equals negative 3. Negative 3, 0. That's my x-intercept. That's where the line will cross the x-axis. Y-intercept. X equals 0. Negative 4 times 0 plus 6y equals 12. So 6y equals 12. So y equals 2. Y-intercept then is 0, 2. Connect the dots to draw your graph. What can you tell me about the slope? Good. The slope will be positive because as I read this line, it's increasing. So I know my slope's going to be positive. So if I get a negative, I'm like, whoa, something doesn't match. All right. So I'm going to start here at the blue, and I'm going to go up to the pink. So I'm going to go up 1, 2. So I'm going to rise 2, and I'm going to run 1, 2, 3. Excuse me, to the right, so positive 3. So my slope is 2/3. And one more. Again, this is in standard form. Close, not exactly because of that negative out front, but close enough that we'll graph it with the x and y intercepts. So for my x-intercept, remember my y is equal to 0. I get negative 2x equals 15. Divide both sides by negative 2. X equals negative 15 halves. So negative 15 halves, 0. You could also think of that, if you want to, as negative 7.5, 0. The y-intercept, we know x is equal to 0. Negative 2 times 0 minus 5y equals 15. Negative 5y equals 15. Divide both sides by negative 5. y equals negative 3. So that is the order pair 0, comma, negative 3. So my negative 7.5, comma, 0 is about there. And my 0, negative 3 is there. So then we're going to connect those dots. There's my line. What can you tell me about the slope? Good, it's going to be negative. And then we're going to do rise over run. So how far do I rise? I'll start down here at the green one and go to the other one. So I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3. How far am I going to run? I'm going to run negative 7.5 or negative 15 halves. Ugh, complex fraction. So how are we going to handle that? We're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. So those will cancel, those will cancel. So we're left with 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 over 15 times this little imaginary 1, 15. And take a 3 out of both, negative 2. Take a 3 out of there, 5. Our slope is negative 2 fifths. Now you say, I don't know about that. I don't like that complex fraction stuff. That complex makes it hard. You can always go back to the original problem, and you could always put it in y equals mx plus b form. Add 2x to both sides. Negative 5y equals 2x plus 15. Divide everything by negative 5. That gives you y equals negative 2/5 x minus 3. So you can always take the standard formish looking one and change it into slope intercept, and then you can easily peel off your slope. Oh look, they match. You can also easily peel off your y-intercept as well. But sometimes people don't want to go through all that work. They'd rather just look at the picture. Either way, doesn't matter to me. I'm good with lots of options. You pick the one that you like. All right. Thanks for listening. That finishes up the 2-4 notes. That finishes up everything for the first quiz. Get those homeworks done and get ready for that quiz next week. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.